So this is Mercy McKee, and you've seen her earlier, and she's just going to talk to us. So here you go.
Okay, Jesus, we're on. Okay, timer. Whew. Yeah, what she said. I've been thinking about, what do you want me to talk about, God? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? And I don't know exactly yet still. So, like I said earlier, I did think about going political and decided against that. Then I thought about, should I talk about, what I've learned this last year. A lot of you guys have heard what the last year has been like for me. It's been horrible and also really beautiful with how God keeps taking care of me. And then I thought about even I don't know what to say, so I'm just gonna play the songs for them that got me through last year, right? I'll just have a little concert. And then, so I've got notes here that I don't know what any of them mean. I can read them though, Jason, so that's fun. I thought about maybe I should do a little breakdown of what it's been like in the back seat with Jesus. I don't know. I know some of you know that saying. It was last year, I think in March or April, I was talking to Ronnie. He's helping me with some crypto stuff and well, what about this and that? And I just got so overwhelmed. I'm like, it's not even Jesus take the wheel. It's Jesus, I'm going to get in the back and I'm going to be on the floor until you tell me otherwise. And that's the stance I took for a lot of last year. And it was really uncomfortable and really hard, but really worth it. All right, Jesus, help me out here now. What I've learned in the last year. And then I also was thinking, should I talk about maybe what I'm learning? I got the job with Catherine, another ministry that's just focused on God as love, as unconditional love, learning to see him instead of Father, even with union. It's a whole new dimension, seeing God as unconditional love and that I am loved. Okay. I think one of the hardest things for me this past year was learning that I'm loved, even when I'm worthless. In my opinion, worthless. I also wrote, one of my notes here was, I am a recovering, judgmental performance junkie, early stages of recovery. So to be emotionally paralyzed, financially broke, emotionally broke, physically just I can't even. And to watch God come and take care of me month after month after month. I'm still getting used to it. I mean, that check, that was just, are you sure? I mean, I know I'm and it's been really hard to accept, and I think it's such a powerful lesson. And now as I chat with friends that I haven't chatted with for a while because I haven't been in the space to deal with anybody, my heart, I feel them, and I'm like, oh, you got to know how much God loves you. Oh, you got to know, even some Christian friends, that God is so much better than we think. And the unconditional love of, honey, you're broken, you're sick, you've been hurt. I'm going to take care of you. And I'm going to use the Burtons, and I'm going to use the McKnights, and I'm going to use Jessica, and I'm going to use Ronnie, and I'm going to use everybody at Joyland. I'm going to use random people from Chicago that show up and call and say, hey, do you need some cash? So I think that was the hardest thing last year, is receiving when I couldn't perform. And now it's a new challenge because, as I told some of you guys, in December, I figured out that the medication I'd been on all year was part of what was wrong. I had serotonin toxicity, and like, oh, well, now I know what's wrong. And I've been off of that medication since November 30th, and I am coming more and more and more back to myself. My room is clean. As of this week, I got my room clean. Like, it's ridiculous to be 50 years old and excited that your room is clean, but that's what the year's been like. So now that I'm coming back and I'm getting my bandwidth back, I've got the peace of God and the words of my employer saying, you're not done yet. You're still in recovery. You're still healing. Your heart is still, you are still, like, what is it Catherine is saying? Like, you got, hope deferred makes the heart sick. Your heart's sick, honey. And it's gonna take a minute or 25 to heal. And that's okay, Mercy, it's okay. And I'm like, I don't understand this kind of love. It's mind-boggling. And it's life-changing. And so now I'm getting to where, like I said, my room is clean. I've been on top of my work for Catherine, and it feels good, and I want to pile more on myself, but God has helped build enough of a muscle in me, in addition to the people around me, for me to go, no, I'm not going to push through and exhaust myself again and burn myself out again and break my own heart again. I'm gonna stop and listen to the Spirit. And a friend of mine in Chicago was asking me last week about, I haven't been hearing God about what to do about my bra patent. And she said, well, have you been hearing God at all? And I was like, not really. I haven't really been journaling yet. I haven't been doing all the things you're supposed to do to hear from God, other than, praying in tongues and talking a little bit and praying like, Jesus, what do you want me to do? And I could sense in her voice that she was a little concerned for me because I hadn't been hearing from God. And I was so grateful that I caught it. I was like, you know what though? I'm peaceful. So he's not talking to me right now or giving me instructions right now, but I am sheltered, I am protected, I am provided for, and I'm peaceful, and I'm hopeful. Oh my God. And you know what, it's so funny is that, like, it took the worst year of my life, I do believe that was the worst year of my life, to get to these. I'm sorry, that's my phone going off. I could have swore I turned it off. I'm sorry. To get to these things, I never would have come to Joyland without that horrible space I was in. I wouldn't be connected with the Burtons the way I am if I didn't desperately need them. I wouldn't be understanding the glorious beyond. There are no human words for the love that he actually is. Like, is it possible that he can love us when we're so stupid and so broken and so needy? And apparently the answer is yes. Okay. Now I can't read it because now my eyes are getting fuzzy. Oh, wow. What else, Lord? Most significant lesson. So, this, in addition to, it's really hard to be a performance person and not perform. The backseat with Jesus thing, it's first surrender, which is hard, right? Because we want to be in control. I want to be in control. So surrender, and then learning to trust him. But it's beyond trust. It's trust him even when I don't do anything. Trust that he's beyond good, beyond what I can imagine, even when I'm not jumping through any hoops. I'm doing no Christian activities. I'm doing no worldly activities that are supposedly required, like have a job, or at least I wasn't. And trust that he is so much better. So it's not just trust him to take care of me, but trust that he's not a jerk. He's not going to take care of me in a really crappy way. He's going to take care of me in a good way because he's a good daddy. And the other hard thing this year was learning to receive it, to allow him to love me. When I do sessions, now they're better, but when I first started doing sessions with Catherine, and she would minister to me and she would just love on me, and I hear the Lord saying this and this and this and this, and I was like, don't think so. I don't think that's true. That can't possibly be true. Not for me. I just had it come back. Even like this week, this past Sunday, I was watching Sean Bowles' prophetic word about 2025 and how accelerated it is going to be and awesome it's going to be and all the things you've been standing for decades are going to come. And it's like, that sounds great. I don't believe it. And I noticed that right there it was, I don't believe it. Not that I don't believe Sean Bowles, not that I don't believe that those things, God has those things for his kids, but I don't believe it for me. And so I shared that with Catherine this week, and again, her response was so beautiful, and she was like, honey, that's okay. Your believer is in recovery. And he's okay with that. And he's gonna do it whether you believe it or not, so it's okay. And the fact that you got your room clean, you're on top of social media, you're smiling, you look different, that is enough. You're still in recovery, and that is enough, and you are so precious, and he loves you. And even now, I feel like I'm on the early parts of this revelation, for sure. I can't wait to see how much more God blows my mind and makes me cry in front of people, because I love it when he does that. So I've been recovering from hope deferred. It's been the worst battle year of my life, and it's been the one that I saw God the most, just saw him the most. I guess the worse it gets, the clearer you can see him if you look. And sometimes even if you don't look, because I was, I was doing that, I'm just gonna rot in bed and lay here and die move, and he wasn't having it. Not for me. Not for any of his kids. What else, Lord? Yeah, well, it's my phone ringing, but it's one of my friends that now, we've been friends. It's a group chat with three of us. One I went to high school with, and another one we met like a couple years after that. And she's gay and married to a lady, which it's none of my business, but Jesus is not an okay topic, but it is now. I threw a worship song. I threw a worship song in our group text, and the one I went to high school with was raised Catholic, and so she's kind of open to it. And it's just like the fact that I can throw Jesus at them and I'm not getting shut down and I'm not offending them is so cool. So there's fun. Okay, great. So we're supposed to do that. I tell you, I turn that phone off. I turn it off every night before I walk in here. Oh, Lord. I might have a little extra time here. So it's been a hard year. It's been a great year, but here's what I know. I know that God is good beyond what we can understand. I know that God is faithful in ways and places and times that I don't understand. His love is beyond our comprehension. And the last thing I know is that it's going to be okay. Just stay in the back seat. That's all I got. I got 5 minutes left. I don't have to keep going, right? Does anybody have questions? Now I'm going to get chastised right after the talk about God's love.
Okay, so stay up here because people may have questions. Something that you said was you have a hard time receiving when you don't feel like you can give back. Or, yeah. And I think that a lot of us have a hard time receiving. You know, we'd rather be the giver than the receiver. And so just kind of contemplate that. And if you're one of those people, just start asking the Lord why. Because the reality is we should be givers and we should be receivers because we have seasons in our lives. And so neither thing is right, neither thing is wrong. It's just the ebb and flow. And so I think if we walk in that, we'd be in a good spot.
Yes, what you said, and also for me, it was like it was a worthiness and an identity problem. Can't receive because of an unworthiness, and the unworthiness is because I don't know who I am, and I clearly don't know who my daddy is.
And then the other thing was, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And to what you just said, if we don't have an expectation of a good father, we almost always have a sick heart. And our expectations are super low, like super low. Like, you know, I can't even tell you how low my expectations were about my father. But when we get to a place where God starts healing our heart, and I hearken back to Ronnie's talk about, you know, heart, how are you doing today? Well, your heart's going to say something about that. And so you want to listen to your heart. You know, for so long Christians were told, don't listen to your heart. It's evil, it's desperately wicked, it's this, it's that. I don't believe that. I think our heart actually does speak truth to us. And sometimes that truth looks pretty ugly, and sometimes it looks pretty beautiful. But the thing about being heartsick is that you can't receive love because you're just shut off for whatever reasons. And so I think it's really cool that that's one of the things that is opening up to you, that is like perfection, right? That's what Daddy wants for us, is that perfect love. So does anybody have any questions for Mercy and her year in review? That's what I'm gonna call it, the year in review. I know. I'm like, really? Dude. Zoomers, if you have a question, just go ahead and raise your hand and we'll get you pinned up there.
Hi.
Hi.
Is there anything in particular that you can remember when God broke through and reminded you or showed you that he loved you that you couldn't deny?
Well, yeah, I mean, he blew my mind every month. I'll say the first one was just because it was the Burtons reaching out to me, and I hadn't been in contact with the Burtons for years. I mean, not because there was anything wrong, we just weren't in contact, not a big deal. And I didn't say anything to her, anybody that would talk to her, but she heard from God about me, and she was obedient. So when they came to help me, I was like, why are you doing this? I remember Bill, like, why are you guys doing this? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And he just said, Pam heard very clearly from the Lord, and that's the end of the discussion. Pam heard from the Lord. This is what the Lord's heart is for you, period. And that was the first one that just, my mind was exploding. And then he kept doing it again every month in different ways.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Ronnie's got to at least have a question. Jason's coming.
So most people probably had no idea that you were going through what you were going through during that period.
Well, you guys did, didn't you?
Well, a little bit.
You guys
A little
did.
bit, yeah.
Mhm.
Probably not to the depths. And so I'm thinking about the depths, and I'm curious, how did you... There's a person that I know that he had a very terminal illness. In fact, there's only one, I don't even know, like, how many people survived. He got to the point to where, and he's a very disciplined individual. He said, if I can make it one more minute, I make it one more minute. And that was 20 years ago.
Mm.
So I'm curious, when you're going through that and you're in that depth, what were you thinking? What got you through?
That really was the getting in the back seat. What got me through was, first of all, it was the day that the Burtons reached out to me. Earlier that day, I was pleading with God, like, I can't. And at that point, I'd only been in the funk for like 2 months. Like, I can't handle this anymore. This is too much. I can't. You've got to do something, dang it. And then my crying out, I get this Burton stuff connecting with me, and they're giving me love and friendship and all this support, and it was still hard. So I would say it was how I got through it was like, I'm just gonna get in the back seat. I can't pray my way out of this. I don't have enough faith for this. I don't have the energy to open up my Bible. I can't even watch a YouTube sermon right now. I'm gonna get in the back seat, and I'm gonna trust you. Either you're trustworthy or you're not. Either you're gonna take care of me or not. And I just am powerless to do anything about it, except to surrender, get in the back seat, and say, okay, you tell me what you want me to do, otherwise I'm back here. Does that make sense? Does that answer
It does make sense. I was thinking about be still and know. Is what that brought to mind for me.
Yeah, I didn't do much be stilling and knowing.
You didn't?
I didn't. Because it was so painful, and I felt so overwhelmed and powerless and out of control, I did a lot of giving it to you, and now I'm putting on Netflix, or really the Hallmark Channel. I'm a Hallmark Channel junkie.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like I had the bandwidth to spend much time with him in that way, to be still and know.
Yeah.
I had to just like, I'm giving it to you. It hurts too much, and until my sleeping pill kicks in, I'm watching the Hallmark Channel. So maybe not so great, but look at that. He got me through it anyway.
Look at that. Yay.
Yay. I love you, Jay.
I feel like maybe you were in a limousine. No, really, seriously. I think you were in a limousine because you can be in a limousine and you can watch Hallmark and you can eat popcorn and you can just be back there while Jesus is driving the limousine. And so anyway, and I have to tell you guys something. She would when we were doing the ladies' Tuesday tea, she made the multiple attempts to come on and be a part of it. And some were successful and some were not. But the thing that was beautiful about Mercy is she would text me and she would say things like this. And I thought, oh, Lord, you're actually doing things here. She would say, you know, I haven't even washed my hair today. And I'd go, oh, okay, you might want to do that. Or she'd go, I'm still in my bathrobe. I said, you don't have to turn your camera on. You know, so it was kind of an interesting thing to walk through a little bit of that with you. But I thought your vulnerability and your honesty in the midst of all of that was really telling to me that you were on a journey and you were beginning to be able to express, hey, I'm not this, you know, perfect individual that I would really like to present myself as, but I'm getting better, you know? So I thought that was really cool. But I do think you were in a limousine.
It's funny that you say that. I love that. I think I'm going to start saying that when I share my story now, because I was telling a friend last night about the check I just told you guys about, And when I was setting up the story and telling her, and so I opened up this envelope, and I don't know who it's from, and she said, "Girl, don't you dare tell me there was money in there again." And I was like, "It was a $1,200 check." And she said, "I'm going to come live with you." And I'm like, so when you said limousine, it made me think of that. Like, how good has my God been to me? You know? Yeah, I like that. I was in the limousine. I got in the back seat in a broken down jalopy, and he put me in the limousine.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.